I think it is significantly more important how we think than what we think. Today, I want to talk to you about a book that I believe can help you to become less wrong. I'm Josh. This is the Post Faith Path, and let's get into it. So, my goal when I was a Christian was to be more right. I went through the scriptures. I would read all kinds of Christian books, writings from the early church fathers, whatever it was, with the goal of being more right. Well, part of my journey after deconstruction is to assess my thinking and to dig into how I think and try and figure out where I can make corrections, because we're all human and we all suck at thinking, at least thinking properly. And I have switched my goal from being more right to being less wrong. It may not sound like much of a difference, but it is. I start from the position of, I have no idea what I'm talking about. Let me go see if I can find out what the truth is, or at least get closer to it. And I want to introduce you, if you haven't heard of it, to a book called The Scout Mindset. It was published in 2021. The author's name is Julia Galef. I think it's Galef. It may be Galef. And it's probably changed by now. At the end of this book, she says that she was engaged to her fiance, Luke. She actually discusses him a little bit towards the end, and she dedicated the book to him. So I'm assuming that since it's 2026, that they've gotten married. But I don't know that for a fact, so I'm going to call her Miss Galef. The Scout Mindset. She says that humans kind of default to the soldier mindset. And this was certainly my mindset when I was a Christian. And the soldier's mindset is to defend their position no matter what. They're not looking to understand. They're not looking to be less wrong. They actually believe they're right, and they will defend that to the death. And we naturally, unfortunately, the way our brains have evolved over all these years, we naturally slip into that, and we don't even realize it. And that was one of the reasons I bought this book, was because she proposes to show you the soldier mindset and to give you methods for seeing that in yourself. This is certainly, you could use this book in a way to be able to call other people out, but that is certainly not the way she wrote it, and it is definitely not the way I read it. I was looking to find ways to help me understand when I was entering this soldier mindset. The second mindset, hey Lindsay, the second mindset that she discusses is the scout mindset. The scout leaves the fortress, leaves the castle, and he goes out and searches for what's true. That's it. The scout is attempting to draw an accurate map and to accurately understand and reflect the reality that they see. That, for a lot of us, is a very hard mindset to get into, especially when you've been a soldier for ever how many years. For me, it would be 5 decades now. Let me read her contents here to you. Of course, she has the introduction. Then part 1 is the case for scout mindset. Part 2 is developing self-awareness. Part 3 is thriving without illusions. Part 4 is changing your mind. And part 5 is rethinking identity. That's where the soldier really thrives, is when whatever is being discussed is an integral part of their identity. That the soldier immediately takes over, and that's one of the clues. So she begins in chapter 1, after the introduction, discussing something that I'd like to bring up here. She calls it directionally motivated reasoning, or motivated reasoning. So a lot of us think we're thinking clearly. We think we're reasoning something out, and it's secretly being motivated by the soldier. And here's how she really gets into it. She talks about the psychologist whose name is Tom Gilovich. He says, when we want something to be true, we ask ourselves, can I believe this? Searching for an excuse to accept it. When we don't want something to be true, we instead ask ourselves, must I believe this? Searching for an excuse to reject it. What really stood out to me was thinking back when I was a Christian. You have A verses and B verses. Every theology that someone comes up with from the Bible, there are verses that plainly read will directly contradict that theology. So your A verses are the ones that support your theology, and your B verses are the ones that you must accept. You don't have a choice. Must I believe this is a yes. But what you do is you take those verses and you either ignore them, or you do mental gymnastics to twist the plain reading of those verses into your theology. So she stops with the can I believe this and the must I believe this. What she does not address is what happens when the must I believe this is a yes and you don't want to believe it, and what type of mental gymnastics you have to go into in order to make that thing that you must believe fit into your theology, because it plainly contradicts it. I used to do that all the time. I think every Christian who studies the Bible does that. They run across something and they're like, well, it's in the Bible, I got to believe it. And then they go, well, they didn't really mean that. Or, well, what they really meant was something else. Or that word doesn't mean that in the Greek right here, even though it means it in the Greek everywhere else. So we all do it, and it's unfortunate. And this book has been very good at helping me to identify some of these shortcomings in mine, where I am, instead of trying to be less wrong as the scout would, I'm trying to be more right as the soldier would. And I'd like to share one last thing with you directly from the book. It's a chart she has on page 14 that shows side-by-side comparison between the soldier mindset and the scout mindset. The soldier, reasoning is like defensive combat. The scout, reasoning is like map making. Soldier, decide what to believe by asking either, can I believe this or must I believe this, depending on your motives. Scout mindset, decide what to believe by asking, is this true? Soldier, finding out you're wrong means suffering a defeat. For the scout, finding out you're wrong means revising your map. Soldier, seek out evidence to fortify and defend your beliefs. Scout, seek out evidence that will make your map more accurate. Soldier, related concepts, directionally motivated reasoning, rationalizing, denial, self-deception, wishful thinking. Scout, related concepts, accuracy motivated reasoning, truth seeking, discovery, objectivity, and intellectual honesty. I highly suggest this book. Is it going to solve all your thinking issues? Absolutely not. Is it going to help to make you less wrong on a daily basis? Yes. If you read and apply what she says, I think it will. I have put a link, an affiliate link down below to Amazon. If you would like to support the channel and think you would enjoy this book, we would greatly appreciate if you use that link, and we get a small percentage. It's like 4.5%, 45 cents when you buy the book, something like that. If you would, share in the comments if you have read this book and what your thoughts are on it. I'd love to hear them. If you've got some ways to help improve my thinking, I would love to hear about them. Thank you for your time. Again, that's The Scout Mindset by Julia Galef. And YouTube thinks that you will enjoy this next video. Have a great night.